Google Forms are the best tool for creating forms and surveys. You can create beautiful forms in minutes. The forms look good both on desktop and mobile websites. Your forms can accept unlimited number of responses. And best of all, whatever data is captured in a Google form is automatically saved in a Google Spreadsheet. There are, however, some missing features in Google Forms. For instance, you cannot accept file uploads in Google Forms. So if you're building a form where people can upload their resumes, that's not possible with Google Forms. Google Forms do not support CAPTCHAs. So if you're trying to prevent spam in forms and want to include a CAPTCHA, that's not possible. And finally, Google Forms do not accept e-signatures or electronic signatures that are legally binding. In today's tutorial, I'll show you how to make Google Forms even more awesome by adding all these features. You will be able to accept file uploads, your forms can have CAPTCHAs, and you can also accept e-signatures. Now before we jump into the implementation, let me show you a demo form. So here's a form that allows job applicants to upload their resumes to the company's website. Now it looks just like a regular form except that it has extra features like file uploads, CAPTCHAs and e-signatures. So let's quickly fill this form to see how it all works. So here's the file upload button. When you click this, it opens up the Google file picker, which allows you to select any file from your computer. And when you select a file, it is automatically uploaded to the form owner's Google Drive. Next we fill the few check boxes, and then there is a radio button, and finally we have a beautiful date picker allowing you to visually select dates from the calendar. This is the text area where you can enter multiple lines of text or long paragraphs of text, and then you have the e-signature area, so you can just use your mouse or your finger if you're on a touch device to quickly sign the form. Now if you make any mistake, you can quickly hit the undo button to undo the last stroke and then sign again. And finally you have the CAPTCHA button. This is integrated with Google reCAPTCHA, so it's very secure. And once you have filled the form, just hit the submit button. So the form has been successfully submitted and the data is captured in a Google Spreadsheet. Now if you're curious to know how this was done, let me explain you step by step. The first thing you need to do is go to forms.studio. This is an online form maker where you can visually design your forms. So here I am inside Form Studio. Now on the left side you have all the different type of fields that the form supports, and all you have to do is drag these fields into the form area. So let's start by dragging a heading. This will become the form heading, and we can also add a short description. So you can continue dragging fields from the left sidebar into the main canvas area. If a field of the form is optional, you can just change the required setting from yes to no. I'm just speeding up the process to save some time. We are almost done designing the form. I'll quickly add the CAPTCHA as well. Now once the form is ready, we will hit the save button, and when you hit the save button you see a little link that says preview form design. So let's click that to see how the form will actually look like to the end user. And there you have your first form ready. Now it uses material design. It looks exactly like Google Forms, and it's also desktop and mobile friendly, and it has all the new fields that are not supported in native forms like file uploads, CAPTCHAs and e-signatures. Now this is just a dummy form, so if you try to hit submit it will not work because we are only testing the design and the layout. The form isn't ready yet. Here I am inside the Google Spreadsheet that will be storing all our form responses. The files are actually uploaded in our Google Drive, whereas the responses are saved in this Google Spreadsheet. So the first thing you need to do is set up this Google Spreadsheet. So for that, go to Tools and choose Script Editor. So this is the actual Google script that will act as the backend of the form. Now don't worry, you don't have to write any code. It's just that you have to change a few configuration parameters. The first thing we need to do is bring our form design into this code. So how do we do that? Open forms.html from the left sidebar. Then go to the form that you have just designed, and if you scroll to the bottom, you'll find some HTML code. So just copy this HTML code to the clipboard and paste it in your forms.html file. So save your changes, and the next step is to enable the Google File Picker. You remember when we clicked the File Browse button, it opened up a picker allowing us to select any file from the drive. Now that is done through Google File Picker, and we need to enable it. So go to Resources and choose Developer Console. Now here click your project name, and then you will see a list of various APIs, Google APIs that are available for your project. Here search for the Google File Picker API and enable it for your Google form. When you do that, people will be able to visually select files from their computer and upload it to your Google Drive through the Picker API. So once the Picker API is enabled, we'll close the console window and then switch to the install.js file. Now this is the file where we will be setting up the various configuration parameters. First, you need to specify the parent folder where everything would be saved. Now by default, Google Drive saves everything in the root folder, but since a lot of files can clutter your drive, so it's always a good idea to save things in folders. So we'll specify the main folder path. Next, you have the subfolder option, and this is a really interesting one because you can have dynamic folders based on form entries. So for instance, in our form, we are asking people to enter their full name and we are asking them to enter their degree. Now what we can do is we can use the variables full name and degree in our subfolder name, and automatically a new folder will be created that will hold the actual values of the full name and the degree. The only thing you need to remember is that your variable name should be exactly similar to your question titles in the form. Next, you need to specify your time zone, your default time zone related to GMT, and then you have the option to receive email notification when somebody submits your form. So should you wish to receive email notifications, you need to set this as yes, else set it to no. Now if you want to receive email notifications, you also need to specify the email address where the notifications should arrive. This is the subject line of the email that arrives. Now it will have all the form values in the email body, but you can customize the email subject line. And finally, you have the confirmation message that displays when somebody submits your form. So we are done with the basic configuration. So save the install.js file. Next, go to the run menu and choose install from the drop down. Now the first time you run this script, you will have to authorize because it requires certain permissions to your Google Drive and for sending emails, etc. So just click authorize. You have to do this only once, the first time you're setting up the form. So we are done authorizing the form and it's now almost ready, but the main question is, where is the form located? What is the URL of the form? So go to the publish menu and choose deploy as web app. Here give your form some name. Now in the execute as option, choose your own email address because you want the files to be saved in your Google Drive. And finally, who has access to this form? This you have to decide. So if you are in a Google Apps domain, you may only want people in your domain to have access to it, or you may want to publish it as an anonymous so that everyone, not people who don't even have a Google account, should be able to access your form. So for this example, I'll choose anyone, even anonymous, so that everyone can use my Google form. So once you have selected all the right options, click the deploy button and the script will offer you the URL of your Google form. So let's copy this URL to the clipboard and open in a new browser tab. And our form is now live. Now this looks exactly like the one we designed using Form Studio, except that it is a public form. So anybody who knows the URL can access this form, upload their files and submit it. When people submit the form, a new row is added in your Google Spreadsheet so you can keep track of all the responses, and all the uploaded files are saved in a special folder in your Google Drive. So you've seen how easy it is to create forms that look like Google Forms but have a few extra features that like file uploads and CAPTCHAs. If you would like to create such awesome forms, go to labnol.org/awesome. Thanks.